Hello there. I am so glad you're here because I'm doing something I don't do very much, and that is welcoming a whole team to the show. I'm really excited about that. Hear them. And they're in my region. And we've investigated a lot of the same places, so that's going to be a lot of fun. You know, like I said, I do not do this very often, but I think it's fun because if you're an investigator, it's in your blood, right? You love going to new places. You love going to the same places. I mean, because I feel like you get more interaction with spirits that may recognize you as opposed to if you're going in someplace cold because they won't know that you're who you are, right? They don't know, and I think a lot of times they get bullied a little bit. But these people are jam up. They're Southern Innovative Paranormal. Like I said, we don't have everybody, but we have Troy, we have Connie, we have Braxton and Autumn, and we have some files that it looks like we're going to be running as audio because I'm not always the most perfect tech person, but I'm not that bad. We're working on that. So anyway, let's bring everybody in. So, hey, Connie.
Hi.
Hey, Troy. Hey, Braxton and Autumn.
Hi.
Hey guys.
So,
Hey,
thanks for being here.
Thank you for
Thanks for
having me.
having us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we are in the same region. I'm in Birmingham. So we are basically a
okay.
stone's throw plus, 100 or so miles,
Mhm.
but not far. So, how long have y'all been a team?
Connie?
We've been a team since 2017,
And
officially,
have
but
you,
our experience goes back before that.
right? I mean, there's something that brought you together to form a team, right? You all have that history that brought you into this work. So I'm just going to round robin this. So we're going to go Connie, Troy, Braxton, and Autumn, and y'all can tell me separately, if you want to. I think that would be fun. But why are you a paranormal investigator, Connie?
I've always had an interest in paranormal. I'm born and raised New Orleans, so I think somehow
There
it
you
was
go.
just ingrained in me.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It wasn't until moving to Tennessee later and I was older and had an opportunity to stumble upon a great location here that had a team, and Troy was there originally. And I investigated as a guest for about 4 or 5 years before I was asked to join the team because I was sort of a big groupie with them. Uh,
Yes.
and then I joined the team, and that would have been in 2017. We were all together. But my passion's always been the unknown.
What was your first experience where you found something that you felt like, oh, heck yeah, this is here? I'm going to investigate that.
It was actually took place at Rippavilla Plantation in Spring Hill, Tennessee, when I met these guys, and I was a guest going to their paranormal nights. Very first time I ever investigated was a guest, and that happened to be a really great night on that property. It was extremely active that night, and I had a couple of experiences that really it blew me away into thinking that we couldn't explain it, couldn't figure out what it was. I knew I heard it,
Mm-hmm.
and your mind's playing tricks like, did I really hear that? But I absolutely heard it. And we were on the battlefield there and actually heard the men's voices all around us in the woods. And it was amazing that I was hearing it, but not seeing it. It was crazy. And there's a schoolhouse on the property, and we were in there that same night. And we actually got some activity that answered us by writing a number on a chalkboard that was there. And it actually, I could hear it happening in the dark, but you couldn't see it. And,
Mm-hmm.
we put lights on and saw it. And I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. I went home that night and said, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I went
Yeah.
over and over and over.
It's cool when you find a place that you have a heart for like that. I have about 3 places here that I will never not visit.
Mm-hmm.
If there's an opportunity to go in, I'm going to be standing there when the door opens. And
Yeah.
it's really cool because, especially in New Orleans, I've got a friend that is a voodoo queen there and a paranormal investigator, and we kind of blow each other's minds a little bit. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's so neat because I first met her as a guest, kind of like I'm meeting y'all for the first time as my guests here because of your reputation. And it's neat when the friendships grow from that, and everybody has, because I don't do voodoo. I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
history in voodoo. Maybe from New Orleans, you might have some knowledge of that, but I don't. So I was just like, really? You do what? And the
Mm-hmm.
first time I ever went to her home, she was leading a tour of people from New York, and she was like, stay down here with them while I take them up to go look at this artifact and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know your house. So, but she trusted me because we'd spoken like this before, and
Mm-hmm.
she knew I investigated. And they're Southern girl, if there's a snake, it's poisonous. I'm not staying with it. She had in one of her little altar things a snake. And I didn't know that until I was kind of standing by it, and it was like coming up the side of the aquarium. And I'm like, done. I'm done here. So different ways of learning things are always fun, but never bring me a snake. If we're investigating together, do not bring me a snake. So, but I think it's cool that you had an experience that was just that,
Mm-hmm.
just the thing. And it grabs you, right? I mean, like you said, you were hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I like to think I'm pretty rational minded.
Yeah.
My husband's with me, who's very conservative, um, very strategic thinking.
Yeah.
And, we just kind of couldn't figure it out. I knew where everybody was. I knew nobody walked off. I knew there weren't extra people around. I knew enough to know that I don't have an answer for what just happened. I really can't even think of what else it could be. And we were just standing there experiencing it in both places and both looking at each other thinking, he said, I don't know what to say. And I said, I'm coming back. That's for sure. I'm coming
That's what I'm saying. That's me what I was saying too.
back.
So, because I have a husband with a engineering and science mind, and he has gone with me. He was at You guys have been to Thomas' house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many
Yeah.
times. Well, he was sitting upstairs where the TV is, watching a Braves game, while I'm investigating and doing my wandering around and stuff. And I came bebopping up the stairs to check on him, and there's a shadow man standing in the corner behind the couch behind him, also watching the game, apparently. Right? And
Wow.
I'm like, you okay, baby? You good? And he was like, yeah, we're winning. And I'm like, yeah, we are. So, and I don't think I've ever told him that. He may have just heard that. But he's watching the Braves in the other room now. But so it is. That was my actually seeing him. I see shadows at Thomas' house all the time. So that's one of my favorite locations too.
Mm-hmm.
But so Troy, I'm going to move on to you. Are you the founder of this group? The creator?
Yes and no. I just wanted to create an opportunity for like-minded, um,
Yeah.
ghost hunters that weren't limited to, one leader.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, if it was a location that I wasn't excited about and the rest of the team wanted to, I didn't want to, put the kibosh on it. I was just like,
Right.
if y'all want to go do it and have fun. I didn't want to limit, what anybody else wanted to do. So that's kind of how it kind of started for me. There was a lot of good cases that we could have got into when I was with another group,
Right.
and the founder, the leader, just like no, there's too many issues, and it's like you don't want to go, don't go. It's not that big of a deal. So I encourage everybody to go to new places, go do what you want to do, and you know that's kind of how it started for me. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I was with a group that was affiliated with the TAPS
Mm-hmm.
group. Um, we covered, a I think it's about 100-mile radius around Nashville. So
Oh, that's a
you
pretty good
imagine
bunch
all
of
the different.
places.
It was a good play. Good. It was a good span to have to try to cover. A lot of weekends gone away from the house, um, and but yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I just wanted to, be part of a group that had the freedom to do and experience what they wanted to
Yeah.
experience.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, because we're all
So
adults, right? So if you want to
apparently,
do something or some other team
so keep
members want to, I think that's brilliant.
yeah,
And not very many people do that. So, and I like
yeah.
taps
It's
groups too. So, I think we've got a little bit of a
yeah.
delay.
I prefer the older taps, not the newer
Yes,
taps.
I
Yeah,
agree. But when I'm in Scotland, I investigate or have investigated with Highland Paranormal, which is a taps group. It's,
Mm-hmm.
Scotland's taps group. And they're so fun and they're so knowledgeable. And Scotland has a whole lot more of a mystical approach than we do because we're, cut, dried rocket science, do it this way in a lot of cases. And
right.
they they want real evidence, but they're very, like I said, they're mystical. They
Mm-hmm.
are just who they are. And it's very interesting to me to watch TAPS groups work. So I think that's fun. What's your favorite that got you? What was your aha moment? Your absolute aha moment? Was was that it,
Are you speaking to Troy?
Um,
Troy?
yeah, I'm still here. I'm just for some reason my
Wondering.
I don't old computer and internet. It's really lagging, so I apologize. Um,
It's okay.
I don't know. Just for me, really, just watching the older tap shows, um, thinking, man, I can do that, and then an opportunity um, came up for me to join a team. And I thought, yeah, I got to try it, and tried out for the team, made the team, um, and just kind of went from there. And as far as aha moments, I'm kind of slow to react to stuff, so nothing. I just kind of go with it. Try to let whatever's going to happen, and then react to it after it's done. So
Hmm.
aha moments, I've got things that I remember as a kid. We lived in we lived next to a mortuary, and
Okay.
remember as a kid, something would come in and sit on the edge of the bed to the point where the bed would I could feel the bed sink. And being a child, I did like most all other kids would do, and you just cover that up and try to go to
Yeah.
bed before it kills you.
Those blankets are a great
Right.
protector,
So,
and I'm not kidding. So,
I'm telling you, yeah, I'm telling you. So, so that was kind of
sorry, I'm not.
my introduction into there's something else there.
Hmm.
I've had a couple experiences um, outside of that. Also, as a child, I grew up in Montana, and
Okay.
there was one night I swore I saw an Indian in full headdress, and he was standing out on the property and waving to me to come out. And of course, I never went out. I mean, duh. I mean, I don't know what that is. So,
I would have pondered that too.
so
I don't think I would have run out.
yeah, I mean, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's like, am I seeing what
Yeah.
I'm seeing? So, but that was what kind of started me into like, okay, there's something there, as a child. So, and then from there, I mean, I just took the opportunities as they presented themselves, and here we are today.
Yeah. Doing a jam up job.
Oh,
So, I mean,
well,
I'm so sorry because I'm going to tell y'all, I don't do this. You are, other than Scottish Paranormal, you are probably the only full team that I've asked to come on with me. And I think your work is great individually and as a group. So I think it's pretty neat. So,
Well, thank you for
but
that.
yeah, thank you.
well, I'm impressed. Okay, and you're kind of local to me, so that makes it even more fun, right? Because I know where you're going. I know where you've been to get this evidence that we're going to be talking about, and you know, so well, Braxton and everybody. I told Braxton that that's my grandson's name. It's the only other Braxton I've ever met, so I'm pretty impressed. But Braxton and Autumn, do y'all want to take turns talking about this, or was it a shared experience that brought you into this, or do y'all have history individually?
I would say yes to kind of all of those things. It's purely her fault of why we're involved with
I
this
love
stuff.
when it's the fault, right? It's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
fault.
always my fault. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
so I guess both of us kind of grew up in houses that we would consider semi-active, but I would call myself the skeptic, which I feel like to a degree, like every good investigator is a skeptic to a certain degree.
Well, you're
Um,
questioning,
right, right.
you're
So
analyzing.
this team was hosting a public night at Rippavilla Plantation, which Connie kind of alluded to. And my wife and mother-in-law thought it would be a great idea. It was around Halloween to go to one of these investigations. So they reluctantly kind of drugged me out the door to it. And kind of similar story to Connie. I mean, we had a very active night from night one, and it was an adrenaline thing, I would say, and we were kind of hooked from there. So, we had, I would say we both kind of watched the shows and things like that. And it was something that we had kind of a mutual interest in and like enjoyed spending time watching the shows, but never thought it would be anything more than that. And then to kind of live it firsthand and get an understanding of, what a good team operates like and kind of the procedure and all that kind of goes into it. We were pretty hooked from there. So.
What was your first experience for you?
It was so the way we used to run our public investigations were depending on the size of public that was there, we would kind of subdivide into smaller groups, and we probably had 7 or 8 different locations across the property and houses and things like that. And it was stop number one for our group. We went to the nursery, and for whatever reason, I feel like whatever haunted location we may be in, I've always had more activity for myself in a kid's environment. So a
Mm-hmm.
nursery or little kids or whatever, they've always kind of been, I've had success there. But
Right.
again, I was very skeptical at this moment, and I sat down, and I'll never forget it. I was Indian style, sitting down, legs crossed, and my arms were kind of crossed as well on top of my knees, and I felt pure as day, like feathery electricity, like run across my arm. And I
Wow.
turned white. Autumn looked at me, and I was probably sweating at that point because I knew something had happened, but I didn't know what. And then I had asked our leader, like, "Hey, I just want a random question here, but if you got touched, what would that feel like?" And then kind of what she explained to me was spot on with what I thought I had felt. So from that moment, I was charged and very excited to be there. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a cool beginning, right? Something trusts you enough to come, especially in a child environment, and they trust you enough to come and let you know, hey, I'm here. And I like
Yeah,
you enough to say, well, hi.
it was
That
very
is so
playful.
neat.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So
That is so cool. And so you were just lost at that point.
yeah, no, I was equally scared but also excited. And then I would say Autumn was probably more into the paranormal field than I was going into that. But I think that kind of leveled the playing field for us and started a
Right.
passion. So
That's so cool. That is so cool because obviously your energy was something that you were there from love for her, and probably they recognize that love too. Kids are intuitive like that anyway, and ghost kids are, A, they're wicked funny sometimes, but B, they recognize somebody that's safe, I feel
sure.
like. So, Autumn, why did you have that interest?
My childhood home, like you said, was kind of active. We used to have things happen. We have pictures fall off the walls. The lights in our
Mm,
basement would turn on. Um, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and see just a black figure standing in my doorway a lot in high school.
was it
Um,
scary, or was it just kind of somebody keeping an eye on you?
yeah, I was never scared, but it was enough to like, turn over and be like, okay, I don't want anything to do with that, but I was never,
Yes.
yeah, felt threatened or anything.
Yep.
Um,
Right.
yeah, the covers, yeah. Um,
Yep.
so I think that is kind of what sparked my interest. I watched the shows in high school and things like that. And then I saw Rippavilla, advertising public nights. And then we started going to that. And it was very addictive, like Braxton said. Um, and we fell in love with how the team operated.
Mm.
And also, catching EVPs, the team would send out EVPs that they caught, during those public nights. So getting to go back and hear things that we didn't even hear ourselves was really cool.
That's one of my favorite things about your team. And it's one of the best lines I think I've read anywhere, is that if you're going to be getting all of this evidence, if you're going to be running equipment, don't run something you're not going to go back and listen to.
Right.
And I'm going to admit that I have been guilty of that because I I have abilities and I'm looking for experiences, sensations, because I have knowledge a lot of what's around me. And so basically my evidence I feel like is just documentation. If I have a question about something, I'll go back and go through it.
Right.
And I did that for years and years because it was mine, right? And so now I still do that to an extent, but if I'm investigating with other people, I try to always go through because they're not going to know what I was experiencing. And it's nice to be able to share what I found. But I think that's one of the most important things I've read on a paranormal team's website. If you're going to be doing it as a team activity, then you need to share whatever you get with the team. That means that you have to sit down and go through it, which is why I don't run as much equipment now as I used to. So I still have hours and hours of stuff from some neat places that I haven't gone through.
Amen to
And
that.
Yeah.
there's so much, right?
It's
And
very time consuming.
it is. And I didn't have the luxury that some of my friends had, which was working from home or, not working, or, when I first started. And so now it's just kind of like, I better go listen to that. So, and I'm glad I do, because I find stuff that I didn't know was, there's stuff that I didn't experience that I find.
Right.
That's frequent. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's my fave. I have always been shocked when I go through and I find somebody that's like, yo, hey, what's up? I was at Sloss Furnace and I had not listened to this immediately. I should have listened to it immediately. But I had taken somebody down to investigate because their kids were in town and they wanted to go and investigate with me. And so I walked them back out. Their kid got scratched, which was like, really? Nobody gets scratched here.
Mhm.
Different story.
Mhm.
But so I went back downstairs just to see if I'd left any equipment before I went out. And I heard people up around the impellers, and I was like, who's that up there? Is there somebody walking around? And I had a recorder.
No.
And when I went back and listened to it, it was 3 voices. I had 3 EVPs of spirits interacting with each other. And there was profanity on it. So I knew that it wasn't a radio station or whatever. And it was like, and it was funny. One of the voices was a little Polish dude, which would be in keeping with the original crew of in Sloss's history, because, that was interesting. And it was, the first voice is a real slow old man that said, bad customer. And the little guy goes, Yahoo! And then the other guy says, bad customer, each. And I'm like, get out of town.
Isn't
to
it
me,
fun though? Isn't it fun to capture something
yes,
like that?
yes. And I completely have never caught. I remember my first shadow figure that I filmed, right? That was, to me, that was it. I was already in love with it because abilities, I knew stuff was around. But to actually get that on camera and to see it, because it just slid down and melted under a door with the camera light on it the whole time. And I was just like, again, and so that's what made me go, what else do I have?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that how y'all deal with that is absolutely brilliant, because I never regret going back and looking. But
No,
I didn't do it all the time to start with.
that's right. We were big on recording always. And
Always.
everywhere we go, we leave multiple recorders out. So
Yep.
it helps corroborate anything we think might be some evidence we captured when there's another recorder or 2 or 3 that caught what you did. And
Yep.
we share that amongst each other. We all listen to hours and hours of audio. We're very good at tagging during our live nights while we're recording. We tag everything. But
Yes.
that's to make it easier to go back and listen and not catch something false. We tag it was us. We tag it was us walking or shifting or moving or a chair or whatever noise is made. That's the ice maker. We tag it.
Yeah.
And we're very careful about that. Then when we get our clips gathered, we share them amongst each other to listen to it and verify could this be us? Was this your group? Was it anybody recognize it? And a lot of times we have captured the same evidence on multiple recorders.
And that's amazing.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't always work that way.
Correct. And we're good at ruling things out. I think we work that well together. We know each other that well. We work the same. We validate the same, and we debunk the same.
Mm-hmm.
And we do everything in our power to debunk it first. Try to come up with a rational reason, and like everybody recreates what it could be and this and that. And we do all that. It's only when you can't that you scratch your head and say, we don't know what it is, but here it is.
And I mean, that's my favorite, because I just think that being willing to debunk, right? Being willing to accept that, well, not as exciting as we thought it was going to be, because a lot of people will fight tooth and nail to hold on to that.
That's right. And, we all talk about the shows we watch on TV, and we've all watched them. They're fun to watch. But as many years as we've been doing it, myself, I tend to criticize more. I watch a lot of shows on TV and think, that's not paranormal. That's not this. That's not that. To me, and we learned so much that we would tell our public guests, it's nothing like you see on TV, so don't expect that to happen. Don't expect somebody to walk past you. It's probably not going to be happening at all. And that was the biggest thing to show people, is a lot of it is quiet and boring. And, you do the same questions, you talk all night trying to get activity, but it's nothing like TV. And I think we did a great service to our public for understanding how it really works. And for that, our reputation's everything. So there's no way we would fake anything or make it up or let our guests think they heard something that's paranormal when we know it's not, and tell them, this is what that is, or this is what, that light on that wall really comes from the highway back here, and blah, blah, blah. And educate our guests on investigating. And we have a great reputation because of that.
Yes, you do. And I like that.
Yeah, I mean, reputation is definitely everything for me, and I'm going to say it is for everybody else in our group, that nothing is faked. It is real, and sometimes you get to that point where just because we can't explain it, still doesn't mean it's paranormal. It just means that we can't explain it. So I'm always careful with going, that's definitely, that's a ghost. And it's not the case. It's just, we had this experience. I can't explain it. And you can take it for what it means to you. But just to throw it out there and just go, it's definitely haunted, it's kind of hard to prove, I've heard you talk about shadows, and the thing I think for us is that we've seen so many of them that when you're doing a public investigation and somebody's like excited and they're like, oh my gosh, I just saw a shadow, and we're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that happens, and we're kind of underwhelmed sometimes by it, just because you get used to seeing it. So, but to kind of go where I was going with that is like, with the shadow, it's like, how do you define that? I mean, it's something you can visually see, but how do you calibrate that? I mean,
absolutely.
Is it? I know some people come out with what they call shadow detectors, but it's just a laser beam, that shoots across a doorway or something else, and a bug or something trips it off, and everybody goes, "Ooh, there was a shadow." And
there's always bugs. I
So,
mean, seriously, if you're sitting in the
Yeah.
dark and you have a light source, there's always bugs.
right.
And,
Always.
you know,
You know,
there's never not going to be. And
yeah.
that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
So,
why,
it's like, go ahead.
well, I kind of interrupted you.
No, that's okay. I lost that bird already.
Well, I was going to bring up the shadow hallway at Old South Pittsburgh, right? Because that's what it was called forever and ever. I'm in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, back when you were risking the plague to go. And it's really an interesting thing to me that this was in a hallway that the door to the outside was painted black. There were a few cracks in the paint after enough time. But the nurse's station on that corner at the other end of it always had a light source. That area was never entirely dark. So I really never credited the shadows that I would see there because there was a group that used to go there that were very involved in having very reactionary experiences for their guests and were very, you know, high energy, keeping everybody pumped up all the time. And when you're doing that, people will have a false experience because they're excited and they're like looking everywhere. You're going to see a shadow when somebody is moving around like that. And so I had a very hard time with believing what I would see in the shadow hallway being paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a time that I had to believe it because there was nothing else happening. So, but that's the only time in that area that's supposed to be so righteously haunted that,
Right.
you know, that I absolutely. And then we were doing a cleanup day there one day, and I had gone down into the chapel area and was walking back out. And I looked into, you know, that bathroom there that they had pulled the sinks and stuff out of.
Mm-hmm.
And as I walked out of there, I always have a voice recorder going. And I was just like, oh, I'm bored. I'm just going to sit around over here and listen to this, you know, later during the break. And there is a man's voice that said, so what'd you think about that? And I wasn't working with men. I was with a group of women. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what's around that? So I go back and I'm backing it up. And it says I'm walking out of that bathroom, walking out the door into that little center outdoor area. And I'm like, I wasn't with any men then. That's really cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, we have Anthony Lewis here in chat who says that he's found the best shadow people are the ones that give off its own light. I don't know what find one that and give off its own light. I would agree with that. That's kind of what happened when I was at that hospital where I saw my first one. So, or filmed my first one. I'd seen them, but the first one I actually caught on film it freaked it out. But thank you, Anthony. But
Yep.
have y'all seen them
Thank you,
that are
Anthony.
their own light source?
I have not experienced that. Most of the time, most of the shadow figures that they're darker than the dark, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
Man, trying to give a better description. It really, I mean, that's really, for me, that's the only way I can see them. Now, I'm not sure about anybody else, but they have to be darker. And I've never seen them give off their own light.
It's a neat idea.
The only light that I've ever experienced, and for the lack of a better term, we've always called them sprites. And
Good point.
these are just quick flashes of light in a dark room when there shouldn't be. any
Mhm.
flashes of light. And to describe it, it's like you're driving down the road, and you catch a piece of glass, and it reflects the light from the sun. And it's just a quick flash, and it's done. And
Mhm.
we've seen multiple colors of that. Um, if it was just one person seeing that, then I can go, okay, I've got floaters or something. But
Yeah.
when you have, multiple people reporting that they are seeing the same thing, it brings something to it. I have on
Mhm.
occasion picked up what I call a, you can hear a crackling noise on the recorders. And so I'm almost thinking that you're picking up the energy from the sprites as they're popping through. So what is
It's
it?
like
I
a
don't know.
tear in
Right.
the
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, a tear in
Yeah. It's,
reality.
yeah. I mean, and it could be, it could be followed up. You might get an EVP after that. You might get shadows. You might get something else. So noises or, but for some reason, I don't think we've ever been able to record it at all. I mean, we'll set up our recorders and everything else and just not catch anything but sound from it.
Mhm.
So, maybe some of your listeners might experience that and just kind of go, wait a minute, yeah, I think I have seen
Yeah.
that. So,
I just
and
think
and
that
and,
it's
and the
so
different colors.
the different what? I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Well, I was going to
But the
say the different colors. I always kind of thought that maybe it kind of represented a mood almost, but
sure.
I haven't been able to come up with anything that would indicate, a somebody who was happy or somebody who was mad or so, I haven't been able to put that together, so
Do you ever have
that's
EVPs around the time that you're trying to get them on film?
no, I haven't experienced
No.
that. Braxton, Autumn, have y'all?
I would say maybe. Nothing
Okay.
definite that I could, point to and say, you know, this is exactly time stamped of the video and audio match. It kind of seems like it's one or the other a lot of times.
Well, is it close though?
I don't know that I've ever gotten one that's been close to that.
I would say I've had a couple experiences on video where we might catch something and then there seems to be like a 4 or 5 second delay and then we may have an EVP. But I don't know if we have too many of these energy focused uh, phenomenons that we've kind of synced with both.
Because that would be interesting because if it were something that was manifesting in order to be seen, then they would not it would not necessarily coincide. If it's
Yeah,
having to, if it's having to expend the energy to apparate, for lack of a better word.
sure.
So, because really those are generally more like flashes, aren't they?
Yeah, they're quick. I mean, you can
Yeah.
if you didn't see it, you're not going to see it. There is no, hey,
Yeah.
everyone look over here. It's almost instantaneous.
Really, if you blink, you miss it. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
think your eyes are playing tricks on you, but you look long enough and you'll see different, might be red, it might be white, might be blue,
Yeah. It's
green.
always funny because we'll be like, no one will announce it right away. And then someone will say, did anybody else see that? And then you have 3 or 4 people chime in. They're like, yeah, it was red or whatever. So,
Well, because it's so unexpected,
right.
you know. Or when I've seen them, I had no idea that was about to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll be focused. What gets me is when I get EVPs because I'm being a dork, right? when I'm trying to get a camera to work or trying to get, trying not to erase a file when I inadvertently stop something, because, oh my God, who doesn't do that, right?
Right.
But I was sitting there one day, and then the camera was going on. I had a voice recorder just down on the floor by me so I could mess with that. And it was like, what is she doing? It was like, does
Yeah.
she
So
know?
with
It was really a snide comment.
Yeah.
Does she know?
well,
Yeah.
So,
with with the EVPs, on what we generally think is a slow night. Of course, we're sometimes we'll live listen, things like that. But on a slow night where we're not getting a lot of activity, we will just sit around and talk. And so there's the Q&A part of the night, and then there's just okay, we're not getting any responses. Let's just have a conversation about everyday stuff. And you never know what's going to trigger somebody or something to interact with you. So, and we always call it, a passive Q&A, if you will. So, and I can't tell you how many times where, we'll just sit there and talk about the house, or, the people that used to live there, and things will join in the conversation. So it makes it hard because you're talking right across the top of it, but it is definitely there. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're going in and doing your investigation, don't forget about the downtime and just sit and relax, and don't try to get anything, and things will join
yeah.
in.
I think that's when they're the most interested, because I think that when we're trying to kind of push that opportunity to get something, that we are pushy, or I can be pushy without meaning to. And I know that shocks all of y'all, right? But wait till you get to know me. It really is true. But it's so funny because, I'm like, so who are you? Who's here? Why are you here? All these stupid questions that everybody asks 10,000 times. These guys have heard it over and over. And so I start trying to think of off the wall stuff. And while I'm pondering, it's like, is she through? I mean, you can almost hear the inflection of eyebrows raised, like, are we done here? And that one time I got really offended. And then I thought, well, yeah, at least they didn't give up on me right off the bat. So it was funny.
Well, and that's why, going back to a location repeatedly, you start to build a history with the entities or the spirits that might be there. And
Yes.
as they get comfortable with you, then they're going to be more comfortable with coming out. So, I
Yes.
mean, if you look at it in terms of that they used to be people just like we are, if you got people coming into your house at staying up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're asking you to jump through hoops and asking you a million questions that you've already heard, you're
Yes.
probably going to find some corner and hide.
And you
So
hear the
you do
same
have to,
questions every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
right?
empathize with that.
Yeah. Which is why the passive session is so important, because it's not about them, but it might be about a subject that they care to talk about. Whether you're talking about, the house and how it's being restored, well, what do y'all think about this? The new owners are really, spending a lot of money, and they're really putting a lot of effort into it. Is everybody happy with the changes? You
Yes.
know, in thinking outside of the box, other than, you know, what is your name? Are you dead?
Do you know you're dead? That's a great way to tick somebody off, right? You know you're dead, right?
Yeah, or more importantly, it's like, if you can hear me, do you think I'm a ghost?
Yes.
Again, I mean, you have to think outside the box, and talk about talk about things that they, again, going into any location, learn the history,
Mm-hmm.
learn the time period, learn the people that used to live there that are targeting, that you are targeting to try to get a response from,
Yeah.
and just don't come out and ask them, hey, who's the president this year? I mean, really, I mean, are they going to keep up with current events? I mean, they're not going to care, so,
I bet they had some stuff to say. They
again,
I have
you
heard
have to
them.
think,
I have heard them have opinions on current events, and
oh, wow.
that was trippy. There's a really cool jail that y'all need to go check out. It's up in Ohio. It's right near Fort Wayne. If you don't feel like driving, Fort Wayne Airport's like 19 miles away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called the Old Paulding Jail, and it has resident spirits, and there are people, the sheriffs that have been there. In fact, Lorraine and Chat is one of the researchers there, and one of our best friends owns that jail. And I pissed everybody there off one night, literally. And
Yes.
there was stomping. I was trying to do a live broadcast from inside the cell block, and I set my computer on a table where a man was found hung. That was on me. And so but it was the only surface to set a laptop on. I'm trying to do a live show from there. And oh my gosh, there was stomping. There was, steel cell doors banging. I'm looking at them. They're not moving, but they're banging. And my producer at the time is like, I can hear them. I'll let you know when it's time to go. And I'm like, because I'm getting mad. I'm picking up their anger. And I'm, if you would just leave my stuff alone, blah, 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 blah. And so a little bit later, Todd goes, pick up your laptop and leave now. And I'm like, I will not. He said, pick up your laptop and leave. Because we're on Skype, and, he's in my ear. He's hearing everything. And so I'm like, oh. And so Shelley goes, and she goes to make coffee, and she has one of the portals, the big ones. She bought the plans and made it. And so we're in the kitchen, and I'm like, I can't even talk to these people. I am so mad right now because I'm picking up their anger, right? And that was an interesting conversation that we had, because I'm like, I am not here for my health. I can't drive all the way here from Kentucky. We've been to Scarefest, and I've got a 7-hour drive to get home, and I am not here for my health. I'm trying to help Shelley create awareness so that people will come. And it's a research center. This isn't just a haunted house. This is a research facility. And, that's why I'm doing this. And the guy goes, really? I'm like, yes. Why else would I be here? And so from that point on, we had an understanding. But that's the first time I'd ever seen and felt and heard. It's the first time I heard something moving that wasn't, right, that I'm looking at. And it's also the first time I think I've pissed off that many ghosts at one time. But it was effective. In fact, that jail was on, Lori, show name, Jack Osborne.
Oh, yeah. Jack when he was with Katrina?
With Katrina. What is the name of that show? Anyway, they did an episode there. And
Paranormal Sleepover. What was it?
no,
Lockdown.
that one.
No, that was Nick
Was it
Rowe.
Portals to Hell?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Portals to Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Portals to Hell. Yes.
Mhm.
And that place is not a portal to hell, just saying, because those spirits, they're there all the time. The sheriffs are still there. They still are working. Yeah, thank you, Lori. But, that's a cool place. And she's doing her own research that is fascinating. But if you get a chance to go up there and investigate, It's called the Old Paulding Jail. And
Yeah, I've
you
heard of
should
it.
check that out. Y'all would love that because you are going to get evidence and you are going to have intelligent interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she keeps it wired for sound though, because she'll do a public event sometimes or somebody will book it. And she is filming everything that happens there.
Okay.
So if you get evidence, odds are good that she will have it also. And she is a real researcher.
Okay.
She bought the jail because she loved it. And now it loves her back, and there's a lot of really good interaction. So I would suggest that if you're looking for a place to go as a team,
Okay.
because you will. And now there's child spirits there because it's a safe place, and Shelley protects that place like it was her own home, which she does stay there a lot, but she lives in Indianapolis. But y'all would love that, because if you want intelligent, consistent interaction, it's amazing. Kind of like what y'all were getting at Rippavilla, because they knew you.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the cool part.
Rippavilla was
consistently.
Mm-hmm.
We
what was your favorite part of it?
I mean, kind of speaking to that, we literally all have EVPs with our names being called. Like we all have different individual EVPs that we would have never known it happened in the moment, but going back and reviewing evidence, Autumn has one, I have one, Connie, Monica, Troy, everyone. So.
Well, tell me about Rippavilla, because I've never investigated there and I don't know very much about it. Can you share with me what makes it so special?
Well, our history with it, we hadn't been there in a while, just so you know. It's been about 4.5 years that new management took over the property, and they don't believe in paranormal investigating and so forth. So they stopped all that. But prior to that, we were there for years. I think what was special is, as our team and being the resident team at Rippavilla, we all had a love of history anyway. We fell in love with Rippavilla because it's a beautiful property. It was an expansive property. It offered a lot to us to be the perfect place to host nights like this, because there were so many sites on the property, like an old schoolhouse and the barn and the cemetery and the battlefield area and the mansion itself and so forth. And we all loved it because we all are part of the community. And yes, there was a lot of activity, but aside from that, it was a fun community place with music nights and weddings and food trucks and things. They were always doing something out there. And for us, our love for it was the history and learning all about the family that built it, that lived there, and through the years who lived there. And our nights were always history driven at that property, because it was important for us to tell the public and share with them Rippavilla's history, learn something about it, come back and tour it in the daytime if you want, and understand who we're going to talk to tonight or try to reach out to and why. And so we had to spend 30 minutes giving them the rules of the property, but also a brief history lesson, and then take them on a tour of the house with the lights on so they could see it before everything goes dark. And it was just organized that way. And I think we loved it because it was special to us, because we knew it was a loving family that built it, and the enslaved made the bricks that went into that house. The owner said he wanted to build a house that would last 100 years. And there you are 180 years later. And it's still beautiful. And I think we all had a love for it because we cared for its upkeep. We helped contribute to renovations and things that were there. So they benefited from us being there as well, the owners. And I just think we loved it, and we love what we do, and we enjoyed sharing all that with the public. So if anyone has an opinion on why you loved it so much, share it.
Yeah, please do.
Anybody?
Nobody
You know,
else loved it but Connie?
no, not true. So, but number one, it was close to where I lived, so I'll go ahead and get that out there. At 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I was always the first one home.
That's right.
So
That's always a good thing.
yeah, it is. So just the overall history of the place, and the fact that we didn't make up anything, we didn't embellish anything.
Right.
What they did on the tour guides, we did at night, and that's what we stuck to. Anything that was, you know, added to it or hearsay or speculative, we didn't even mess with it because it wasn't factual. We stayed with
Right.
what we knew and what the historians have told us and what they can prove, and that's what we stayed with. So the house itself was beautiful. And just the history, of everything that happened. I mean, to experience it at nighttime, to look out the windows and to maybe even you know even visualizing 10,000 troops coming down Highway 31,
Wow.
in the middle of the night, to the campfires, which I have seen. Um, it's just it's an incredible place. So anyway, that's what it was for me. I mean, I love the history. I'm also a Mason, and
Okay.
Nathaniel Cheers was also a Mason, so I feel like I have a connection that way too. Um, so there was that aspect of it as well. So
Well, that's a
that's it.
very deep tie, though. That's a deep connection.
I think for us, I mean, so Autumn and I are both from Middle Tennessee. We're both from right along the location of the home itself. I mean, I took a field trip there when I was in like third or fourth grade.
Oh, wow.
So my history of the home started, very, very early. And then kind of, everything everyone else has already said. I mean, the history, the home itself is beautiful, all the things. But from a paranormal side, I think it was, one of the best locations I've ever been in, hands down, just because it was multiple layers, right? I mean, there was good, bad, sad, but we never had a night where we were like, man, it's really, really, really quiet tonight. We always had good experiences, always had great evidence. The property itself, I mean, it's like fishing, right? If you run cold in one spot, you can certainly go to another. So that
Right.
home offered us a abundance of evidence, but also just good memories and experiences with each other. So
Yeah, and I think also that we were there so much doing so many things there that we became friends with the people that worked there and the people that volunteered. And it just kind of became like a safe place, and we kind of became like home, and everyone was just very close and everyone got along really well. So it was just like, kind of a sense of family, I think, too.
yeah, I mean, we
That
have
would make it harder to miss, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That and just a little bit to add to that is that house was built in 1855. They still had numerous items that they were able to reobtain that were original family pieces in the house.
Oh,
So there's
wow.
furniture and dresses and the gentleman's study and the secretary desk and the music box, all these items, they were still sofas, chairs, everything that was original. So the house
Wow.
was a museum, just so you know. So a lot of those items, I'm like to think maybe the family was still around because so many of their things they loved were still there. I mean, it was just a beautifully kept home, and the tours were popular because the items, like I said, are old and original, and what's not original was of the same time period. But Many items were original, and you could just take yourself back to that time. And I don't know, we just felt that way when we were there. It was just the coolest thing.
That is the coolest thing. That is such a rare experience.
Yeah.
We live, you know, now we live kind of in a disposable society. And that's tragic in a lot of ways. I mean, I still have pieces of both of our, families, and I feel family around them.
Hmm.
So I think that matters a lot. My husband never really believed in any of this. He went with me to Thomas' house because he didn't want me to go by myself because he didn't know the people yet. And he's been to a lot of places that because he didn't know the people that I was going to be with and he had to meet them. And then I can go by myself. But because he's going to go and play chess or watch baseball. So it's really cool when it's someplace. I didn't know that they had kept so much of the true family history through the artifacts there. That
It is.
has to help with the hauntings being so active. I feel like.
Well, I mean, I would like to think so as well. But we get around a lot as a team and have been to a lot of places. And for fun, it's just fun for us to go try new places. And I know teams go to all around the same places and whatnot, but it's
Yes.
just fun. We love to get together when we can and do that. And we've been to, like you mentioned, a number of the same places and had experiences and so forth. And
Have y'all been to investigate because they won't let you right now they got a new director and it's now a museum. But have y'all ever investigated at Sloss Furnace?
no,
No.
I haven't
Well,
been there. I don't think
Not
the
as a
team.
team, but I went there before all of that.
right. What'd you find?
Sloth, that night that we went, there was a thunderstorm that came through. So I was
Were
hoping
you
that
there with
the activity from the lightning would have ramped it up.
yes. Were you
With
there with a
it
group? Were you
was
at a
it no,
public
no, this
investigation?
was no, ma'am. This was a private night.
How fun.
Yep, this was
And you got the thunderstorms.
yeah, yep. We had the place to ourselves, and um, I don't remember getting any evidence, and I don't know if it was because the rain contaminated all of my audio. Visually, I didn't pick up on any cues. Physically, I didn't pick up on any cues. So it was, it was just one of those nights, and it happens. I mean, sometimes you go and it's just a flat night. So
Yeah. I have found with thunderstorms that they will either ramp it up beyond belief or it's dead. Everything's gone. There's not much in between, I don't think. Have you found that too?
I think, I think it's hit or miss. You think that when a thunderstorm's coming, like, oh, I hope the energy's, amped up a little bit tonight. It may have
Right.
nothing to do with it whatsoever. May have nothing
Yeah.
to do with it. We've been
yeah,
places that had storms and maybe there was activity and you think that was great. And we've been to places during storms and nothing happened. So probably maybe has nothing to do with it. It's just something we see on TV. I don't know.
Well, I know at
very
Paulding
well. Yeah,
Jail,
I
if
mean,
it rains, you're not going to get anything.
Where?
At the old Paulding Jail I was
Yeah.
mentioning,
Yeah.
if it rains, it's dead. It doesn't even have to be a thunderstorm. Rain kills that.
see, I sort of feel like it's more about the ambient temperature, which is weird. So in the wintertime, there's not a lot of energy to pull from in terms of BTU, which is a term of energy.
Yeah.
So the energy level is a lot lower, and I think things get a lot slower. But the warmer it gets, the higher the BTUs, the higher the energy, I think you get more activity.
And if you have a human component added to that, we get a lot more agitated when we get hot. I mean, if it's an uncomfortable heat, so that's logical.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're feeding off energy, it's going to be there.
Especially when it's warm. So
I had
I
never
think,
really considered that. That's brilliant.
we went to one location that the AC went out and it was hot.
House lights went out.
Yeah.
Remember?
And we picked up some pretty good. I don't think we got EVPs, but I think we all shared similar experiences up on the third floor. Where at that location where we were all hearing stuff and things felt like they were starting to ramp up, but we just didn't have any proof of it. So
Right.
That was Old South Pittsburgh, right? Is that where you're thinking? Because it was hot when she's already mentioned it, but it was very hot when we were there.
I think it was the courthouse.
No, that was where the AC went out. That was at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
the old
college.
courthouse we went to.
We've been in a few
Yeah.
hot places.
And it was,
We're in the
yeah.
South. That happens.
And a lot of cold places.
Be ready to freeze or sweat,
Yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah,
we
the
had experiences
I'm sorry.
there.
Yeah.
Everybody's
No,
gone to Octagon Hall a number of times too, and that's popular. But we've always had a little bit of some good activity in Octagon Hall.
I enjoyed Octagon Hall. I've only been once, and I went on a really, really cold night. And, because Bear and I were friends, and he was like, "You just have to come up here." So I took him up on it one night.
Mhm.
And, oh my gosh, that is I think it's beautiful. I think that's one of my favorite places I've ever actually been that was historic. And I got more activity outside than I did inside. So there is a large group of people there, though. So, and that's a small place to have a large group in.
It is. We had more
So-
luck inside than outside for us.
Yeah.
The few times we went and being upstairs and the door slammed downstairs and
Wow.
yeah, and we went and checked it, and we had definitely had opened that bathroom door. They keep open. So we had it open against the wall, but we came and it was slammed shut. So we backtracked what it could have been and found that had been closed. And we've had some experiences there, though, some weird stuff, weird pictures that we took. And Autumn took one that was just really odd. What shows up in the pictures, in the dark and things. It was a cool place to go to. It needed a little TLC. But
What
we
was in
liked
the
it.
picture? You can't just leave a girl hanging.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there was a millimeter on the bed, I think, right, Autumn? But we were in there in the dark, and she took a bunch of pictures, and I mean like 30-something pictures in a row. But within one picture, a second apart from the one before it and after it, everything's clear. And then this one shows this wavy white waves coming off the bed and going up to the ceiling. And it was just weird looking.
Wow.
And you can
That
see
is-
her timing on her pictures were very consecutive and very fast.
Mhm.
And that was just one that was really odd. And Bear had other pictures there on the wall that they like to put, some they captured, and some were similar. But that was odd to us looking at it, thinking that, that's just weird.
I have it. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but it's definitely glaring.
Pretty well.
But you can kind of
Yes.
tell. There it goes.
Yeah, there,
Yeah.
Braxton.
And that's the only picture that had that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, you can. There's probably 40 on each
Yeah,
side.
they're in the dark. Yeah.
Holy
But
wow.
it was a big like manifestation of light, and we couldn't.
That
I mean,
is.
we tried for 40 minutes to recreate it, but never could. But who knows? I don't know.
That's a great capture. I love that. Did you feel anything there when that was happening?
I don't think so. I think it was quiet, so I just decided to start snapping some photos while everyone was just chatting. And it was just unexpected, just came up, and we were just all probably hanging out and probably not getting much, but
Wow,
cool.
you did.
yeah.
That's excellent. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you shared that. Thank you.
We also
Like,
do private cases too as a team. And we've done a number of private cases when people want their home checked out, maybe.
Have you found a lot of activity doing the private ones?
I think we have.
yeah,
I know that
there's
there's competition.
well, I was just going to say, I mean, most of the time when on a residential, most people want to know that, hey, I'm having this experience and I just want to know if I'm going crazy. And so, a lot of times, we'll come in, check the place out, look for, try to debunk everything that the homeowner is telling us that's going on, whether the doors don't latch all the way, or there's trees that are hanging over the house that when the wind blows it's constantly making raking noises on top of the house. Is the underneath the house, is it buttoned up? I mean, are there animals that can get underneath? So we're constantly having to debunk most of that, and then we go through and then we try to have the same experience that the homeowners have. So sometimes we have a shared experience, but a lot of times we can debunk most of it.
Right.
So,
But
I
we
find
have
that
to
interesting
know that
because
we're
people are so invested in that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Connie. I didn't mean to talk over you. I didn't realize I was until after.
No, I'm sorry. I think there's a slight delay somehow on all that. I didn't say anything important other than that we have had some houses, one in particular I think about, that we did have evidence and we're able to corroborate their experiences with our recorders, with our cameras, with being there. We went back there 2 or 3 times and we're able to send them back a lot of things we caught and what our thoughts were on who was there. And it's usually a previous owner kind of situation, and that's what we think it was, the gentleman that passed away there at the house that built it.
Oh, very vested in it.
Yeah, we've had fun with that. And I say fun, I use it loosely. It's not fun for the family, but we
Well,
enjoy
but
trying to do things like that for people.
well, it's helping. I mean, there's no reason. I always feel so bad when somebody is terrified to be in their home. And there's a lot of that just because of the region we live in, because people are terrified of spirits, everything being demonic, right? Because you go to heaven or you don't when you die, and people react differently because that's a firm foundational thought process.
Right.
And
yeah. So, just to kind of add to that, I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I can't tell you that I've ever come across anything demonic. Now, I will tell you, I've come across some pissed off spirits. And, if you have the mindset that they are people just like us,
Right.
you ever just get up on the wrong side of the bed and you're just mad at the world?
Yeah.
S-
And I'm
So,
not really pleasant in those days. So,
right. So, and I get it. TV, wants people to think that, oh, this is this, this is that. And, if you watch it close enough, you'll see this red circle float through the air. And if you look in the middle of the circle, there's going to be, it's not like that. So, and, I've been touched, I've been scratched. I've had tables lift up on me. But to sit here and tell you that, oh man, it's demonic, I felt evil. No, nothing. It's nothing like that. And, and I get it. I mean, that stuff is going to sell on TV. So, because that's what people want to believe and that's what they think.
yeah.
But I've never experienced that, and I don't know, has anybody else, on the team experienced that? Connie, have you experienced a demonic entity?
Try as I might, Troy, when I have an ovilus out sometimes for fun, I've never caught the word Satan. I've never
Right.
caught demon on my ovilus. It just hasn't happened that way.
Right.
I don't think I've ever been anywhere that we have gone that I can say I felt anything bad, anything negative, nothing that bothered us that much. Now, to your point earlier in our conversation tonight, you mentioned about, the longer you do this, it takes a little more to startle you or kind of get you worked up. And I think that's true. That's versus TV. These people have been investigating on TV for years together. They still scream, they still run, they still get, and we've been doing it a long time. And it just takes a lot to get you to be fired up. I mean, you get excited like, oh, I heard that, or that's great. That knock answered. That's perfect, but we don't run. We don't scream. We don't freak out over things.
Oh, come on. Troy hasn't run screaming like a girl out the door at one point in time or another.
No, but if you
I've
ask
never done that. But with that being said, we were talking about Old South Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite memories there, and I'll let Braxton tell you this story. And that's one of my favorite stories there, because I've never heard a grown man yell like a woman. And it is, investigating, it's serious. You take it serious. But there are moments that you do have to have some fun. So with that, I'm going to let Braxton tell you that.
Come on, Braxton.
So we'll set the scene. I mean, we're in Old South Pittsburgh. I think it's on the third floor where the nursery is. And it was probably 2:00 in the morning. So at that point, we were all delirious.
Yes.
I think it was me. Was it me and you, Troy, that were? In hospitals, they don't have them anymore, but they used to put all the babies in the room and parents would come up to the little glass to look through the babies and family members, right? Well, Troy and I were in the room. We were the babies. And another member of ours was walking down the hallway and I popped up behind the glass and reached out and touched his shoulder. And I thought he saw me, but I thought he took 5 or 6 before I actually had the grasp to, actually touch him. But I grabbed him by the shoulder and he screamed loud enough to wake the neighbors up. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a good memory.
That's
funny.
That's hilarious.
That was fun. But
I would have probably screamed in that circumstance, though.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Physically grabbing? Heck yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
We all laughed at that for a long time. That was really funny.
Yeah.
If we're laughing
I think
now, it's still great.
Yeah. And then I think another favorite moment of mine was we were down in I can't remember where it was, but we were all hearing something. And, so like any good investigation, you get there and you start asking questions. After about 45 minutes of asking questions and getting what we think are responses, turns out it's just a water drip in a closet.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Well, what kind of answers did
you
that
know,
drip give you?
well, I mean, it was just simple, hey, if you're here, can
Yeah.
you make a noise, and you kind of get the little, drip or, whatever.
Drip, drip,
But,
drip.
and after spending all that
Yeah.
time and then you open the door and you're like, oh man, sorry guys, we just totally wasted it.
Yes.
But, I mean, you have to do that. I mean, that's part of the investigation.
It
So,
is. Yeah.
So,
It's just that's hilarious though.
Mhm.
But I do absolutely love the grabbing him by the shoulder thing because I would have been crawl walking, getting out from under that claw. Because in my head, it would have been a claw.
I wanted him to know he wasn't alone.
That's right.
We're all a big team
Well,
here.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
No, he did
Later.
not.
Later. At some
Braxton,
point down the road.
I'm sure.
Braxton, I think somebody
another
got
funny
you
story.
playing that trick because whether it was that night or another night we were there, you walked in a hospital room and saw someone.
Yeah. Yep, I did.
I think that was the same night.
I think that was the same
Yeah,
night.
see?
Yeah.
Same
Payback.
night. Yep, saw the nurse.
I paid back.
Okay, now we heard about the other guy. You got to tell me this one.
Well, I mean, this was same night, I believe, but in reality, it was probably like 45 minutes later. But karma came around to hit me. I think we were I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were in one of the ORs. And there is a notorious story of one of the physicians, one of the surgeons that operated out of that facility had a bit of a bad attitude. And we were getting quite a bit of responses, but we were almost getting negative responses towards the women in our group. So I kind of not bucked up, but I was like, hey, if you're going to pick on someone, pick on me kind of thing. And I got affected pretty good to the point, and this is the one and only time I've ever had to like step out of a room. But I kind of got nauseous to a point where I had to step out of a room. And then I had an experience where I wouldn't call it a full body apparition or anything like that, but I saw enough of an apparition to leave a mark on me for sure. So, but it looked to be
But
Was
not
that the
male.
same night? Was that the same night that the door coming up to the stairwell right there at the nurses' stations just slammed right in front of me? I mean, and we had all walked up that stairwell several times, and
Sure.
out of nowhere, this door just slams right in my face, and I'm like, wait, what? So, yeah, Old South Pittsburgh, it's a good location.
It's a great location.
Mhm.
Do y'all want to hear my biggest story from there?
Yeah.
Lori and Chad and I were there. We were just the only people in there. Just had the place to ourselves, and we had been going everywhere. So we were sitting at the couch and chairs with the table there in front of the nurse's station, and I'm fooling with a camera, and she's just sitting there, and there's a fan going over here right in front of the nurse's station, and then the windows are behind me. And so Lori quits talking, right? And I'm just like frustrated. My camera's messing up. I'm like annoyed. And so it dawns on me how still she is, right? So they always have toys and balloons and balls and stuff in there, the little punch ball balloons and whatever. So Lori has just gone completely still. And she's like, I think either stunned by what's happening or waiting on me to notice it. And we had the fan on, obviously, because it was hotter than blue blazes in there. So I'm sitting there and I look up, and there was one of those little punch ball, balloons that had been sitting in front of the windows behind us and stuff. Well, I'm watching it, and that thing is coming from the window. And I swear to God, Ronnie has this on camera, because I eventually got my camera back up and started filming it. I've got it too, but it's coming from the window against the fan, coming to the fan, and it stops and stays in front of the fan and then shoots off like it lets go and comes down and comes between us, the tables between us, and it's coming, between Lori and the table and going back to the window. And then I'm like, what in the world just happened? And Lori's like, yeah, that's been going on. So I'm sitting there watching, and it goes back against the wind from the fan,
Right.
and rolls back up, and it's like holding in front of the fan, right? And then goes and comes like it can't hold it anymore, and it shoots back up. We watched this do this, Lori. I guess it was 15 minutes that we just were watching this happen, and I'm like, it's too late to call, right? But I'm like, oh my God, I hope Ronnie has the cameras on. I hope he has the cameras on. So later, I was talking to him. I was like, this happened. He was like, oh yeah, that did happen. And I'm like,
Wow.
does it happen a lot? He said, no, but it happens. And I was just like dumbfounded. That is my most extreme thing that happened at Old South Pittsburgh. And I mean, I don't even know how many times I've been there, because it's close, and it's so active. And I was there in the mold and the gross and the, oh my God, I'm surprised we didn't all die from black lung disease. And and now you could eat off the floors, right? So I would go there anytime anybody had something. If I wanted to take a non-believer on an investigation that I knew the location would work with me to help them get it, that's that and that old Potting Jail, 2 places I would go, because I've never seen activity like I've seen at both of those places. So it's weird what Old South Pittsburgh will put on for you. So
Yeah, we'd gone there with another investigator, Paul Browning, a couple of times, and he knew the place like the back of his hand.
right.
And I remember my wife and Autumn were sitting in the hallway, sitting in chairs, and Paul would walk around that place in the dark.
Right.
And to hear both of them on it, to hear them freaking out.
Oh my gosh.
Priceless.
You thought he was a ghost.
Yeah, he would come down the hallway with no
I mean,
flashlight, no like, hey, I'm coming, just like slow. You would just hear footsteps approaching. Yeah.
That would be disconcerting. Yeah.
He scared us to death.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I think Autumn, I think you ended up in Monica's lap.
Yeah, I probably did. Yeah.
Hey, the team that bonds together stays together, right?
That's it.
Very true.
That is it.
Lori said that balloon was a 20-minute experience.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
So
That's
it
so
did it.
unnatural.
I know, right?
Mhm.
And Old South Pittsburgh, well, y'all know. I mean, it will just show out.
Mhm.
It is seriously. It's a toss-up between Paulding and Old South Pittsburgh, because, and they're both research centers. So,
Yeah.
Ronnie encourages people to have repetitive experiences there for research. So I think that's cool.
if any of your listeners are planning on going there, don't go there in the wintertime.
No.
So cold.
You will end up in gauchos.
It is. It is.
It is cold.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you that the girl that owns Paulding is one of my very best friends in the world. I do not go there when it is not summertime
Yeah.
because I am not an Ohio person. So I think it's cold. In fact, I have converted Lori, and she is making her way south, working on having her way south as we speak. So it's I don't do cold. So, but well,
That's
what
nice.
do y'all? What is next for y'all? What are you looking at doing that you haven't done yet? Anything?
We've talked about doing Waverly.
Yeah, bucket list.
Yeah, you know, and it's like there's so much by ourselves, but at the same time, I know that there's, you know, a team that run around in the background. So it's like, are you going to get good evidence?
Well,
So,
yeah.
And
How much is a private there? That would probably be worth one of the places worth paying for a private.
Do you remember, Connie? Was it almost $1,000?
No,
I
well,
think it's like 1,400.
yeah, I was
in that
going to say
area.
1,500 is what I think it used to be about 1,500, but I don't know right now. I haven't looked it up in a while. But there's
haven't
places we try to go into, even in Tennessee, that it's not expensive to go to, but you know, we went into Gallatin recently. There was a
Yeah.
historic
Did you go to
home.
the theater?
No, we were at Maggie Mansion. We did that, and we had a fun night there that night. Probably some little experiences. We might need to go back. We've done a tattoo shop in Alabama. We were in Hartselle a few years ago
Okay.
or so, and there was a tattoo shop in that historic town square there that wanted us to come in and check it out, and we had a great night there. We went there 2 or 3 times, twice maybe, but
Cool.
he
In
did try
Hartselle?
some stuff. Actually, Troy got a good video of. I mean, it's an obvious light anomaly floating out of one doorway and around the wall and into the next door, and disappears. And that was kind of cool. But
That is cool.
we had interactions that night, and that was fun.
Did you say that was in Hartselle?
Hartselle, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
My granddaughter had her dance recital there
Oh,
this spring. So.
well,
Fun.
we've done a number of other smaller places. Sometimes can't even think of everything we've done, but
Oh, yeah, the Old Stone Jail.
yeah, that was in Franklin, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biker rally.
Yeah, it was not good for audio that night, but the jail was
It
really
wasn't.
cool.
It
We
was.
had
A bike rally?
They
Oh my
had a
gosh.
bike
Same
rally,
night.
which
Same
they
night, yeah.
circled the jail all night. Yeah.
Yeah,
We investigate. I'm sorry, Troy. I didn't mean to speak.
Well, I was going to say Carthage. We picked up some phantom cows, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was
Weird.
kind of weird. We were all like, is that a cow? Wait a minute. And then, you know, so everybody's looking to go, okay, where's the closest stockyard, you know, that kind of thing. And I think that night, too, we had I think it was a screw or something that got tossed down from the ceiling after we'd been there for a while. Couldn't really debunk it. Yeah, that was Carthage.
Yeah. It was odd. Just we heard it and then found it, and it was just kind of strange. Like, where did that come from?
Right.
That is strange.
But it was just laying there, which don't think it was there before that.
Well, you wouldn't have heard it crash, you know, come down.
No, we all
Crash.
heard
The screw's
the
not
noise.
going to crash, but it probably sounded like it in the dark and the
Well,
quiet.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
loud enough the whole group heard it.
Yeah.
We investigated a golf club in this area that wanted us to come and see if we could tell what's there or is something here that we hear. And we went there a few times and were able to at least validate for them with EVPs that something's here, you know.
Wow.
And that was fun,
Yeah.
but that was a clubhouse at a golf course. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Let's see, we did a state park before here. We had Troy's experience with the table slamming. I think you were referring to that one, was at the state park when we were in their community building they use for meetings and Boy Scouts and things like that. But we got some weird
Yeah.
activity out there. And then that table, we were all sitting there and that table went up and down and just slammed. And
That's crazy.
yeah, it was pretty neat.
That is neat. Have y'all investigated Stones River?
The
Battlefield?
No, not yet.
It's pretty active. So that was my husband's foray into paranormal investigating, because it was just us and we had gone out there just to experience it, and daytime. And I'm trying to set up around the little Devil's Den part, you know.
Mhm.
Every battlefield has
A devil's den.
murder. Yeah. So and I'm trying to get my recorder set up, and he was like, well, do you want me to hold this one over here so you can be, you can have triangulation and you'll have it. And I'm like, who are you and what did you do with David? You know. So it was so cool because and it was active, and it was really pretty. It was pretty. The cutest thing though was because they have the little silhouette soldiers, pointing where to go,
Mhm.
and he saw one. And he was like, "There's a shadow figure." I was like, "That's what it is."
That's
But
funny.
I mean, because if you didn't know, you didn't know, right? And it did look really interesting. It was really interesting.
That's funny.
So it was probably the sweetest moment that he's had with me on an investigation, other than the guy standing behind him watching baseball with him at Thomas House. That was,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say.
Well, there was one time where Connie's husband and we'd gone out we were at the Rippavilla Plantation, and we had walked down McCutcheon's Trail, and this trail opens up into two big fields, and we sit out there and we were smoking cigars and we were drinking a little bit of whiskey. We didn't have that much whiskey. Let me just make that clear. It was more
Glad
of
you
a
clarified
trigger
that.
object. Yes, it was more of a trigger object. And we were trying to talk to the soldiers that may still be there. But after sitting there for about, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour, we weren't getting anything. So we packed everything up, our chairs and everything. And as we're walking down the trail, right in front of us, and I say it's a trail, but there's a couple tire tracks that run down this little road. Right in the middle of this thing, there's a light orb, so to speak. It's just a ring of light, and it opens up.
Wow.
Probably 2 or 3 feet in diameter, and then it shrinks right back down. And so me and her husband, who's a skeptic, we're standing there, and we're looking at each other. I'm like, is that your flashlight? And he's like, no, I thought that was yours. I was like, no, mine's red. And it's neither one of our flashlights, But just sharing, that moment with the skeptical, So
That's right. But you guys did not have a flashlight on at all. You turned around to walk back, and my husband said we were not using flashlights to walk back. So the only light that illuminated the roadway there, pathway, was what y'all saw. And
That's wicked cool.
yeah, that was really good.
And that was a shared moment with the skeptical, and it's
Mhm.
like,
Those are
I,
always
I
fun.
it is. And I'm like, I can't explain it. I mean, I turned around and looked up in the trees to see if cloud cover, anything that could explain, you know, something, but I couldn't explain it. And on that same trail, I had a group of maybe 10 people. We were going out the same trail. And as we're walking down through there, this trail drops down below grade. And
Oh.
looking off to our right, you can see a fire, a campfire. And this was maybe early October, somewhere around in there. And I know that the uh, uh, Boy Scouts will come out and camp out there on occasion, and that's what I chalked it up to. So as you come up at the end of this trail, it opens up to these two big fields, and you can look around the tree line. And looking around the tree line, there were nobody there, and there was no more campfire.
That's amazing.
Can't explain it,
What
you
what
know.
a great experience.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where we talked about the credibility of what we say, and if Braxton and Autumn tell me that they have an experience,
Yeah,
I can take that to the bank.
there you go. That's why you investigate with people you know.
Mhm.
Yes. And but what a compliment. That's such a compliment because it's hard to find a it's not it shouldn't be as hard to do as it is. But it's hard to get teams put together that every one of you has integrity, you know each other well, you work together well, you know even with strong personalities, a team that's working together like that is just priceless. And when you do have the strong personalities, it's good too because you know that you're not being cowed into agreeing with something too. You're not being led into agreement. There has to be proof.
Right.
Makes it special, I think.
It does. And I think each team member brings different strengths to our group. We all have a quality that is so helpful to the whole team all the time. And I think everybody brings something to that in one way
Yes.
or another. And it just works. It just works for us.
Well, I'm going to tell you that, and I told you when we started that I don't do this very, I don't think I've ever really done this, except maybe with Scottish Paranormal. And then it was only two at a time because they have to be up at 4 a.m. to do it. But when I found you and started following you, I thought, these guys are these guys are really good. And so I kept watching and I was like, I'm going to have to do this. They're going to have to come on. And I was so glad that you did because I think what you're doing as a community amongst yourselves is so important, and it's real paranormal investigation. It's with the interest and the love for it, the love for history, the care for each other, and the trust that y'all have built amongst yourselves. It's such a really great thing. I mean, it's nice to see, and I know it's not. It has to be wonderful for a working environment because I've I've investigated with two or three teams as a member, and there was never that cohesion
Mhm.
and the locked together mindset. It's not locked. That's but the staying together mindset, the having the same values, the having the same interests. And we've lost Troy,
I see
but
that.
he'll come back maybe. But it's just really such a big deal that I felt like you really needed the opportunity to be showcased. And I hope that you will come back and do this again sometime. And if we're ever able to be in the same area at the same time, I would love to come and play with y'all. I think that would be something that I would really put a high value on, because I like and admire your work so much. And
Well,
I checked y'all out before I invited you. I think y'all have great ethics and approach this really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's
thank
a
you
huge,
very
huge
much.
compliment. Yeah.
It is. We're very happy to be here.
Thanks. So, and I am being given a high sign. Troy, can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. And I'm trying to see why, because I want to hear you. Let's see.
Hmm.
And now
Muted.
you're muted.
Yeah.
Now you're not muted. Well, you're going to just have to accept me since you can hear me. I'm going to tell you thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for bringing your experiences, because you know what? I'm going to come do an event that y'all do, because I want to investigate with y'all. And I don't do that very often. I just think that it would be so much fun and so interesting. And if you will let me know, I'm going to be in Scotland the end of the month I'm going to be like a week and a half, 2 weeks. But after that, before it gets too cold, maybe we can get together and go do something, because I'd like to.
Yeah.
If you'll have me.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
you'll have me.
No, we
So-
love it. That'd be great. And maybe there's some place near you that's really good and active. We can come your way if we need to, I think.
Well, I'm in Birmingham, so there are some places. Some of them are very funny about letting you in, and Sloss with this new director is like, oh no.
Well, then we
So-
welcome you to Tennessee.
I will come to Tennessee.
Okay.
And well, we were talking about Harriman. I haven't been to Harriman. I think Ronnie's not speaking to me because I haven't been to Harriman. I'm just kidding. But maybe we could go and do that.
That sounds great.
I think it would be fun.
Absolutely.
It would be
You
new to
guys-
both.
Kat, remember you got EVPs down here.
We do have EVPs down here. Carl, let's see. We're going to run these EVPs. We have enough time. We're going to let Carl play them, and y'all can describe them as we go. And I'm not seeing them. But Carl, would you play the first one? What is that knocking? Copycat. That's copycat.
Troy, you sent that one?
Oh, I think this is one where his wife Monica was walking through the house and she tagged herself. And
Okay.
she said, Monica walking through the house. And then right behind her, you can hear, it almost sounds like a child mimicking her and saying the same thing that she says. It says, Monica walking through the house. And it's very
my
faint, but
gosh.
you can hear it right after she says that.
That's right. There was a little girl mimicking her or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I got you, Troy.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
What
I
was that
didn't
one
hear
called?
anything.
Kat, what was that one called?
I'm trying to find it. Was that Scream? Scream. Here we
Sounds like-
go.
Yeah.
I don't hear it.
Yeah.
It's faint.
Let's try the night driving, Carl. That's music.
Night driving is music. The next one is
Okay.
the iCard.
Autumn. Yeah, autumns.
So I'll set the stage for that one. Autumn is doing an Estes method, and this was
Yes.
recorded on a recorder outside of obviously anything. So she was under, and you can hear two little girls say,
Yes.
"Autumn, can you hear us? Are we still coming through?"
Oh my word.
Yeah, that
That's
is one of the
brilliant.
best ones. Yeah,
That
that
is
one
the
was really
best.
cool.
Yes. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank y'all for doing that. And next time we will have tons of EVPs. Since you've got so many, we'll do this again and play all of them.
Yeah, we have a
Maybe
lot,
not all of them. We won't talk at all if we do that.
a lot we can share. Yes.
But thank you so much for being here. I have enjoyed y'all so much. It's been great. I knew it was going to be great when I was talking to you. I'm glad this worked out.
Well, thank you. It's been fun. We appreciate it very much.
Well,
yeah. Thank you for
anytime.
having us.
Yes, anytime.
Thank
And
you.
tell Troy that I said that I thought he was amazing too.
Well,
We will tell him.
We'll get him a new computer before the next one.
We can do a GoFundMe. So
Yeah,
but no, I just whatever it took for him to be here, for all of y'all to be here, thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
for everyone listening, thank y'all for being here. You know, these are the kind of people that I absolutely love bringing to the show. And this has been so perfect that we're going to go see if we can find other people that might be even close to this good. So,
Thanks.
y'all be blessed. I am going to be heading out of town tomorrow, and I will be back in time for Fate Mag Radio, the online voice of Fate Magazine, Sunday night. And that's going to be a rocking show. So, again, be blessed. Namaste to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. And we will catch y'all on the flip side. Same cat time, same cat channel. And be sure to check out Southern Innovative Paranormal. They're on Facebook. You will be so impressed. Good night.